Are you a part of the Clean Plate Club? That's where you cannot leave the table growing up until your plate was absolutely clean, because that meant you were a good little girl and you ate all your food because children were suffering in so many places of the world, including Africa, you name it. And we had to eat all the food in front of us because we couldn't ship it to them overnight. Well, that's the rationale that a lot of us got trapped into. And that's the psychology that a lot of us are still trapped into today. So, what I'm going to do is show you a way to unlock that trap and be free from it once and for all. So make sure you stay tuned until the very end. Hi, I'm Daphne, and I'm the face behind Ageless After 50, where we ditch diet culture, reclaim our rhythm, and thrive unapologetically. So, the Clean Plate Club, you remember it. I remember it. I've been there. That's when you're at the dinner table, you're served, and you eat everything on your plate, regardless of whether you liked it or not. Usually there was a promise of dessert after, but you ate it for fear of punishment. That's just the way we were raised. That is indoctrinated in us psychologically today, where we feel if food is in front of us, we have to eat it all as if someone's taking it away from us. Now, across the board, this could apply to you in so many different circumstances. You could have grown up in a household filled with other siblings where if you did not eat what you ate, you just didn't eat for the day. Or it could be indoctrinated in just the culture that you were brought up in, where you did not take food for granted. It was a necessity and you recognize what was in front of you. But today, it's a different story. Food is something that can be in abundance. And that's how I want you to picture food from today and moving forward. Your body will recognize when it needs it and when it doesn't. So I would like to talk about satiety cues. Satiety cues means when you are fully satisfied, but not overstuffed. We tend to eat until we are stuffed. The food could be delicious, or we ate too fast and we're not realizing our pace. Before we know it, our stomach is, ow, I think I ate too much. That's going over your satiety cue. In a previous video, we talked about hunger cues and food cues. A hunger cue is physically giving you signs that you are in need of nourishment. And those signs can be your stomach is growling, you are feeling lightheaded, you are faint, you've lost concentration. There's the food cues, which are more than likely psychological, where you're watching a commercial and you see your favorite food, or you're scrolling past something and you see something scrumptious on a restaurant feed. Whatever the case may be, that would be a food cue. You weren't hungry in the moment, but you are now wanting it because it was right there in front of you. Those are the difference between a hunger and a food cue. Feel free to go back to those videos to see me go into more in depth about the difference between the two. Today, we're talking about satiety cues and what that means to you, because it's really important to understand when you are fully satisfied. And satiety just means you have reached the point of satisfaction. Going back to unlocking the Clean Plate Club memory, you cleaned your plate, and then more than likely, you were rewarded with dessert. I'm willing to bet by that time you weren't even hungry still, but you wanted the dessert because it was your favorite dessert. And as kids, our parents, they didn't know better. We know now, and now we're going to use the information that we have to our effectiveness to make sure that our bodies are maximizing the resources, that's food, to the best of its ability to make sure we are our best self. So going back to satiety, I want you to recognize, when do you feel full as you're eating? That's why nutrient dense food and breaking your fast with protein and following up with nutrient dense food is important, because once you have broken your fast And this could be any of the previous fasts that we discussed. Make sure to refer to an earlier video. I'll put a link below. But once you break your fast, your body is now primed to receive nutrients. So the last thing you want to do is immediately put something that is not nutrient dense into your body. I've said this again. I will always say this. You eat protein first as a way to break your fast. It can be a couple bites, 3 bites. Just make sure that's the first thing that is in your system. That is what is going to stabilize your blood glucose level. And as always, as a reminder, before you embark any eating rhythm method, make sure to discuss this with your doctor. I am not a medical doctor and I'm not rendering any medical advice. Once you are breaking your fast and you've eaten those few bites of protein, it's delicious, it's scrumptious. You're coming back from, let's say, a 16-hour fast. Yes. And you have your plate of food in front of you. This is the part where you want to be mindful of how does your body feel. I want you to become very in tune with how your body feels when it comes to eating. I want you to recognize hunger and I want you to recognize satiety, which means feeling satisfied. When you're eating and as you're eating, take bite, enjoy the moment, savor the food. And there's a reason why I'm asking you to take bites and not to just scarf your food down. When you're just eating and just taking it in and letting it go down, your stomach is getting hit fast. And so you are not going to be registering in your brain that you've hit your satiety levels until it's too late. Have you ever been eating and all of a sudden you've had this like bellyache or just it feels like something's in your throat, just like, oh my goodness, what happened? Well, more than likely you've overeaten. You've gone over your satiety signals because you're rushing the food in so fast. Your system is a machine. Think of your system as a machine. Your system was empty, and now you're putting all this food. It's the equivalent of a car. The car was empty of gas. You're not putting the gas in, and now you're topping off too much, and the gas is spilling after you've topped off. That's what you've done. I want you to recognize that feeling so you don't do it so much. We want to mitigate that overstuffedness. Now, don't get me do we do it for holidays, Thanksgiving, when there's a bounty of food and you want to taste everything and you don't care? You know, you're going to say, hey, no judgment. Remember, no judgment. You are in a safe space. But when it comes to your everyday life, I want you to recognize the satiety cues. And what it is your body is feeling satisfied and no longer needs food. When you get to that point, push your plate away. If your plate still has food on it, that's okay. Save it for later. If you have an air fryer, even better. Air fryers make leftovers taste like mwah, chef's kiss. But don't be a human garbage disposal. That's not what you're here for. That's not what any of this is about. This is about making sure that your body is nourished properly. So you don't have to eat all of the food in front of you in one fell swoop. Take in what you need until you're satisfied. And you're satisfied when, oh, I no longer need any more food. I can eat this later. I want you to get into the mindset of, I can have this later. I don't want you to be in the mindset of all or nothing. No, this is your life, your rules, your lifestyle. You can have anything you want and you can eat anything you want. Now we're just recognizing the body cues. And if your body is signaling to you, I'm satisfied, stop eating. If you're eating to the point where you're stuffed every time you sit down to eat, you're going beyond the point of your satiety. That's not necessary. And that's not healthy. That is when we get into the dangerous areas of not recognizing what a hunger cue is. We are more leaning into food cues. Don't do that. Eat until you're satisfied. You'll know you're satisfied. Feel it. I just ate this protein. I ate these veggies. I had a few bites of this rice. I'm good. Save the rest for later. Eat it later in your window. That's it. Food is not complicated. We make it complicated. Believe me, I'm a foodie. I love food. My mouth starts salivating at the thought of food. However, I love me first, foremost, and always. I've seen the damage food has done to my body. I weighed 400 pounds in my 20s. I'm now between 135 to 140 in my 50s. That is a long journey. And it's an ongoing journey. It doesn't end. There's not a the end at this journey. It's ongoing. And that's what I want you to be able to conceptualize. This is a journey. If you mess up one day, pick up in the next moment. You're human. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is a safe space. So I'm going to stop circling the airport. We're landing the plane. A satiety cue. What is that? It is when your body is fully satisfied by the food, by the nourishment it's taking in. That's why it's important to go for the nutrient dense food first. You want your body to receive that nutrient dense food before you put in the other food, the miscellaneous, we'll call it later. Nutrient dense food first, break your fast with protein first, then the later. And what you'll find happening over time as your body gets acclimated to the ageless AF eating rhythm method is when you're putting in the nutrient dense food first, and you won't have that much time for the brownies, the cookies, the cakes, the donut, because you've hit your satiety levels already. You can save it for later. It's not going anywhere. No one's taking it from you. This is your life. You pick the fasting style that works for your life. I want you to be in tune with your body. Be very intuitive with how your body feels when you're eating. If you're still hungry, once you finish your food, eat until you are satisfied. If you're feeling like you've eaten a Thanksgiving meal and it's time to nap, you've gone beyond your satiety level and you did not recognize your satiety cue. And it takes a little work. This is baby steps. You're not going to just wake up tomorrow and say, okay, I know what a hunger cue is. I know what a food cue is. And I got my satiety cues down because Daphne said so. No, I'm over the age of 50. This has been years in the making, and I'm a work in progress. And my gorgeous one, so are you. So if you like what you've heard so far, make sure you smash that like button because we have to make sure that YouTube knows that we are out here in these ageless AF streets. Remember, satiety cue. You're just eating until you're full, but not to the point where you're stuffed. And there's a big difference. You should not have any physical aches after you finish eating. Food is here to nourish you. That's it. If you're stuffed, if you're to the point where you are sick after you've eaten, recalibrate our satiety cues. And if it's going beyond that, definitely see a medical professional. I appreciate you joining me today. Make sure to subscribe because we will always have new content on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Woman over the age of 50 who needs to hear this. My story, one that I realize now needs to be shared because a lot of you are going through the same thing. So share it with someone you know over the age of 50 who would appreciate that this is a safe space and they're the one in control. I'll see you soon. Until then, be kind to you.